Hi guys, Tom here. Just thought I'd do a quick go through of the new Netrunner data pack. Humanity's Shadow, got it here. Just going to go through card by card, give my opinions. Obviously I haven't had a lot of chance to test with these, so it's going to be a lot of no testing but all theory. But anyway, we'll just jump in there. So, alright, so starting at the top with Anox. We got Surge, so zero cost event. Gives virus counters to programs. Pretty interesting card, pretty versatile. Obviously the power level mostly comes from how hard it is to get virus counters. So, you know, if you've got a medium and they don't have anything protecting R&D, it's not really that powerful. But if they've got, 10-20 credits worth of ice protecting it, it's pretty hard to get through. You spend all the credits to get through once, get some more counters, makes running with the medium a bit easier. At the moment, probably doesn't fit into the current Anarch builds. The Workshop Noise build kind of just commits you more to virus counters, makes their purge action a bit easier, and that deck does not struggle to get virus counters. Whether it's on Data Suckers and Nova Agents, mediums, it's really not hard. You just murder all their ice and it's good. What is probably better in is probably with another new card, Pheromones, or probably even best with the upcoming expansion, Chicana. With Chicana, gets it immediately to 3, turns it on, all you need is one run and the Surge, and you're in there. And especially at 1 influence, it's going to make it pretty playable in those builds. Yeah, probably at worst in the Anarchs, but never know, might see it make some play in some Workshop Noise builds. Next Anarch card we've got is Xanadu. 3 cost resource, it's virtual, it's unique. Res cost of all ice is increased by 1, so pretty fantastic card. In the current meta you're seeing a lot of cheap ice decks, mainly due to the power level of Gabe and the accompanying emergency shutdown and Crescentus. And this card plays off the exact opposite aspect. It's really going to punish those decks who aim to play out a lot more quantity ice rather than quality ice. You pay 3 for it. Over the course of the game it might cost your opponent 10 creds, so I'm pretty sure most criminals are going to be happy with that. The big disadvantage, of course, is it being unique, and the 2 influence, meaning that you might be struggling to find space to fit 2. You might not want to play 2 because hitting the second one's useless. So it's going to be a bit of a deck building problem, not a nightmare, but I'm sure we'll see play. And in fact, it will probably see play mostly in Crim, especially with the new identity, which is actually the next card. That identity is Andromeda. Andromeda, 1 link, first thing you see, Crim, natural, and she says you draw a starting hand of 9 cards, standard stats 45-15. Pretty interesting. Very hard to compare it to Gabe. Obviously the numbers side would say Gabe is probably better. Obviously he'll generate you, 20 credits over the course of a game, whereas Andromeda it's only 4 cards. However, Andromeda you get all those 4 cards straight up. So fantastic with all your early game cards you really want to see. First, Personal Workshop, Xanadu, Compromised Employee, and Underworld Contracts. She does start with 1 link, so could be pretty good. The disadvantage that a lot of people are saying is that she's not going to have that opportunity to run early, run naked, I guess, is what people call it. And that's pretty reasonable. I mean, the information is really worth it. You also keep the corp pretty dry on credits, unless they've got, ice walls and low-cost junk. So the debate's on each side. I'm pretty much on the fence until I see someone really come out with a lot of data on which is better. But Andromeda has a really strong early game. And if you've ever played Gabe and got the 2 compromised employees, you know how good that feels, and she just gives you more chance to get really powerful stuff. Personal Workshop especially means that it's opening it up to a nice kind of shop criminal build. So it should be interesting. Especially with a series of regionals coming up, it'll be interesting to see if she can post some numbers in a field that's primarily dominated by Crim and a bit of Workshop Noise. So, interesting. Next up we've got here is networking, Crim event, remove a tag, you can pay one to put it back into your hand. Interesting card. Probably at the moment not very good. Not a lot of decks out there really, just piling on the tags. And especially for Crim, you've already got Decoy, which is a fantastic card. Stops you from getting blown up. Yeah, might see play if MBN tags becomes better, but at the moment it basically just saves you 2 creds off of a count siphon, removing the tags. So next card, HQ interface, new piece of hardware. Really interesting, this one. Probably going to see a lot of play over, especially if any Crim decks were running Nerve Agent. They're going to love this. Comes in one more expensive, but you keep the memory, which is probably the most important part. You want to have your Sneak Door 3 icebreakers with your console, and you don't really want much else. You immediately get profit out of it. You don't have to run twice on the HQ to start seeing some results. All round, definitely going to see some play. 2 influence as well, might see play outside of Crim, but yeah, you get used to seeing this. Next card, like I mentioned before, pretty interesting one, Pheromones. New program for Crim. It's a virus, so all you Anarchs get crazy. Gives X recurring credits. Use these credits during runs on HQ. X is the number of virus counters on Pheromones. When you make a successful run on HQ, place 1 virus counter on Pheromones. So, interesting thing there. The recurring credits just says during runs on HQ, not specifically for icebreakers. So, this combos well with Personal Workshop. Believe you can use them to trash things as well. Pheromones also has a really good interaction with cards like Vamp. Vamp, I believe you can use the credits from the Pheromones to increase that Vamp, and then you've made a successful run on HQ, so you get more recurring credits. So just might make that see some play in Anarch decks. I don't know if Noise can fit any more cards in, but I don't know, maybe someone will try it with Wizard, something crazy. Might not see play in current Crim builds. Obviously want to keep it tight. Crescentus was already kind of pushing it, and it kills itself, and this sticks around, and you're probably going to have to kill it. Looking forward to seeing some powerful combos with this. Sure it'll only get better being virus, so yeah, pretty interesting. Next card we're looking at is going into Shaper. We've got Quality Time. Pretty good one, this. Really good flavor text. Always like smooth jazz. But yeah, the comparison between this and Diesel has already been made. Obviously Diesel 0 for 3, whereas this is 3 creds for 5. So, Diesel economically a bit better if you compare creds to cards. But, Shaper being the massive money powerhouse, sometimes you just want to spend all the creds and get more cards. The other thing to be wary of is the 1 influence, which might be pretty appetizing to some Crims, even some Anarchs, if they want to forgo the wild side. So, yeah, I'm sure this card will see some play. How much over Diesel? Time will tell. But looking forward to the public sympathy deck that just has 11 cards in hand all the time. Next card's probably the pick for potentially most broken card, Replicator. So whenever you install a piece of hardware, including itself, you search your stack for another copy of that hardware, reveal and add it to your grip, so into your hand, then shuffle. So you play 1, you get the second, you play the second, every hardware you play, you get the set into your hand. So at the moment, really the only advantage with that is you can go fish up all your cyber feeders, you can go fish up all of your HQ interfaces, Cortez chip if you want, and you can also fish up personal touches, which is a pretty good one. So at the moment, it's really not the best choice. I mean, even those cards are still pretty good, but in the future, Replicator definitely going to be ridiculous, and it's already has a really good combination with already powerful cards in Test Run and Personal Workshop. So yeah, I mean this this reeks of will be banned in a couple of cycles. So we'll see, and I'm looking forward to getting some play with this once there's some powerful hardware released. Probably by the expansion. Hopefully there'll be some good choices. Next card, first Icebreaker. We got Creeper. Cloud Ice costs 5. Same memory cost reducer as Zoo. 2 strength, plus 1 strength for 1 crit, and 2 to break a sentry subroutine. So, look, probably not that good. Certainly better than Pipeline. Don't think that card's bad. But still, 2 creds to break. Just 1 subroutine, which means the common sentries you see, Shadow, Roto turrets costing you 4 to get through, already from a 5 cost ice, so it's hitting you pretty hard, and especially since Femme Fatale, you're happy to pay the 9 to ruin their toll booth, and only 1 to break those ice there. So Archer, another pretty common sentry, it's costing you as much as a Femme Fatale, which is already very bad. Not great, especially since you don't really need the memory at the moment in a lot of builds. So we'll wait to see. Maybe once they release some more sneak door beta, high memory cost, non-icebreakers, maybe Clouds will get playable, or I don't know. We'll sleep on this. Next one, neutral event, Kraken, or Kraken. Play only if you stole an agenda this turn, so pretty unlikely. You don't do that many turns in a game without winning. And it says choose a server, Corp trashes 1 piece of ice protecting that server. So at best you're probably going to trash an unresed Enigma or Wall of Static. You might get lucky and hit a toll booth on its own or a Data Raven on its own, but 3 cost, only really playable maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 turns in a game, and even then the upside is pretty low. You really need to work for the situation, but could be good. Especially with Maker's Eye, things like that. Any 1 card that's highly likely to get you something. Could see play, but the cost and the just overall inflexibility of it, not very good. Next card, fantastic. Katie Jones, unique resource connection for the runners. Can't use her more than once per turn. 1 action to place 3 creds on her from the bank, and 1 action to take all the creds off her. So this card easily fits in any deck where you're running more than 1 Armitage. Easily just chuck 1 in. Doesn't have the redundancy. Having 2 Armitage is pretty useless, whereas this, if you really want to start bumping up your economy, you can start using both. Really kind of happy to see her early game, but it's not a big loss if you don't. Solid probably will go in every runner deck that needs economy, which is everyone. Don't really see the point of running more than 1. You really don't want to see more than 1, and yeah, it's really just not that big of a boon. But glad they give you 3 because 1 in each deck, and you're going to be running this card for a really long time, I'd say. So we go into the Corp. First card up is HBs, and we've got the Eve campaign. So if you've read the books Freefall, you'd know Eve, and you'd know Adonis as well. If anyone's interested in getting into the lore, definitely recommend reading the books. Really interesting. You kind of get a bit of an insight into what the cards actually are. So 5 to res, 5 to trash, asset, it's an advertisement. Place 16 creds from the bank onto Eve campaign when it's resed, trash it when there's nothing, and when your turn begins, take 2. So generates more credits over time than Adonis. Unfortunately, it takes a lot longer than Adonis. It takes twice the time, 8 turns, compared to Adonis's 4 turns. The 5 trash is interesting, but the 5 res is pretty painful. I think it will come down to personal preference. I think if someone really likes playing a very horizontal style, they'll probably like Eve a bit more. A lot more of a pain to hit and trash. But for people who kind of want to set up that 1 or 2 big servers and have Adonis there temporarily, then get rid of itself while making you money, Adonis will be better. My preference is Adonis, but you know what, 1 or 2 Eve campaigns might sneak into any given deck, and look, you're probably not going to be unhappy to see it. Your opponent probably will be if they hit it unresed and can't trash it, and then you res it up. So yeah, we'll see how it gets played. Next card is Rework. this card is horrible. After that, we've got Whirlpool. Unlike the flavor text, this ice is fantastic. Any Jinteki deck really happy to see this. Really just suck people in and just shred them up. You're gonna see a lot of people trying to go for, I guess 1-hit kills with this. Just fingers crossed opponent doesn't have the Crypsis. In a lot of Edge of the Worlds that are going to be hit, a lot of June bugs as well. But I think outside of Jinteki, it might see some play. 2 influences, alright. But especially in something like HB, where you can suck them in, make them hit. An Hourglass and Itchy run into an aggressive Secretary late game. Massive punishment. Unfortunately, you do have to put a lot of work in to get maximum benefit out of Whirlpool. Obviously, not having any ice on there that ends the run or anything like that. But when it goes off, it's going to go off. Next card, Hokusai Grid. Region. So limit 1 per server. Whenever there's a successful run on this server, do 1 net damage. 2 to res, 4 to trash. Fantastic card. Going to see play at least as a 2 of, I'd say, in most Jinteki decks. Adds a bit more punch to all of your traps, so 1 more off that June bug, 1 more off Edge of the World, 1 more off a Snare in HQ or in a server. This is a really flexible region. You can put it in a lot of your servers, unlike some of the others where really only specifically for a remote or for a big server or anything like that. This one could go anywhere, and you can have a whole bunch of them as well on all your different servers to punish anyone who gets in. Pretty good against Crim. If you put it on HQ, means if they sneak door or normally run in, they're going to hit it. It's probably not going to stay around for long, especially against Gabe. Probably going to get trashed pretty quickly. But he's using his resources to trash things, and you only paid 2 and the 1 to get it in play. Pretty good. Definitely get used to taking a lot of net damage. Next card we're into is NBN Data Hound. Sentry, 1 to res, 2 strength, trace 2. If successful, look at a number of cards from the top of the runner stack equal to the amount which your trace exceeded the link. Trash 1, arrange the rest in any order, so look, not great. Especially people are already playing lots of low cost ice. There's ones that do better. Pop-up windows probably better than this. Early game you might, as NBN, punch a couple of extra creds in there, so you kind of, get a lot of information. But outside of that, it's just a pretty bad late game ice. Even mid game, the runner's not going to be too phased about just charging through there and having you mill 1 or 2 cards. Might see play in the future, but the base trace of 2, the strength of 2 as well, it's not great. But interesting effect. Hopefully they do more of these, more that are playable. Next up, we've got another unique upgrade, the NBN one. This is Bernice Mai. So she's a Sysop. She's unique, of course. 0 to res, which is, I believe, the first of the unique ones to do that. Whenever there's a successful run on this server, trace 5. If successful, give the runner 1 tag. If unsuccessful, trash Bernice Mai. So pretty good. It's going to cost the runner at least 5 creds to deal with her, whether it's eating the trace, trashing her, then removing the tag. Problem is, it just doesn't seem like you get a lot of bang out of your card. Other cards like Tollbooth, Data Raven, Sansan, they really, you play them and they're really powerful. They're pretty game altering. And she just, I don't know, giving the runner 1 tag. Best case scenario, they get in with 1 or 2 creds, you give them a tag, they can't trash her. But that's not going to happen too often. I guess it does have the advantage that, similar to Hokusai Grid, where she can go anywhere. So, like I said, same thing against Crim, you can put her on HQ, they can deal with that, but look, ultimately it just feels like not as powerful as you want it to be, but I might be completely wrong. I'm sure this card's going to see a lot of play, and we'll see how game altering it can be. Next card is Salvage. Horrible, really bad. 0 strength, Code Gate. Yogg already sees play. No strength means any Code Gate breaker gets through it. 2 to res can only be advanced while res gains trace 2 successful, give the runner tag, so it doesn't even stop them. At least with woodcutter you get it to 6, and if they don't deal with it they die. But yeah, this is just not good. They get to 2 link, they just completely ignore it. Really bad. Next card, another unique Sysop, Simone Diego. 4 to res, 3 to trash. 2 recurring credits. Use these credits to advance cards in or protecting this server. So, pretty good, similar to the new Wayland Identity, except this can advance agendas in that server. Pretty interesting. Probably not going to see play in that Wayland deck, simply because it's highly unlikely that on your turn you're going to advance. Might see play at 2 influence outside of Wayland. Points have been raised that this card is actually quite good because it allows you to advance agendas when you have no credits, which is definitely a thing. Pretty good. Upgrades are always good. Last card in the set is a neutral operation, Foxfire, which is actually probably one of the better cards, one of the better neutral events to released, compared to, the one that trashes resources. So this is 0 cost. Traces for 7 if successful. Trash 1 virtual resource or 1 link. So virtual resource, I think that's only Xanadu, Ice Carver, and helpful AI. Link, on the other hand, is quite a lot of useful things. A lot of compromised employees. Dyson membership, one of the big ones. And other smaller things, rabbit holes and things like that. But trading a card for a compromised employee early on, pretty worth it, especially if it's before they can manage to get a couple of creds off of it. This will be hitting a lot of Dyson mem chips, maybe make some people trash some stuff, get that link down, but yeah, overall, pretty good. Alright guys, well that's me going through Humanity's Shadow. Pretty good pack, probably one of the better ones of recent times, definitely better than Study and Static. Definitely looking forward to playing with Andromeda and some of the new stuff. Looking forward to the regionals. See you guys then.